What's up, you guys? Happy Thursday. I hope it's not too windy, but it's a very windy day down here. Perfect cycling weather to practice. If you're not used to the winds, it's a great day to practice. Luckily, we got no rain. But today I wanted to talk about disappointment in our performance, because believe it or not, sometimes we set ourselves up for the disappointment without actually realizing it. And the reason why this came up is because, you know, every race that my athletes do, we do a post-race report, and then we analyze what went well and what didn't go well. And it was interesting because I had like 18 people racing at North Carolina this past weekend, and we did our post-race call yesterday, and many people had a PR. But it was interesting to hear that to get their PR, their personal record, they had to fight for it, right? There was not one person that did the race in North Carolina that did not struggle at some point during the event to thereby get the goal that they had set for themselves or get close to it. So we had a couple of PRs, and then we had some people that had really, really terrible races. And believe it or not, some of them were in the best shape of their lives, others maybe weren't, but just set their expectations, you know, a little bit too high for the reality of the situation. So I sent them my blog about what to do if your race sucked, because there's always a reason. Sometimes we don't like to admit it, that there's a reason why we didn't have the performance we wanted to. And I believe it's this expectation thing, because, you know, setting expectations higher than what's physiologically achievable, you're always going to be disappointed because you're not going to be able to achieve the goal. So for example, if you've been injured and you haven't been able to run for the 6 weeks leading up to your race, and then you create your race plan and it shows you holding a 10-minute mile, you know, walk running, and you have not done that, you haven't done the distance, you haven't hit those numbers in more than 3 months, it's not going to happen on race day. It's not like race day isn't a magic day that all of a sudden all your struggles go away just because you've been showing up or not really showing up in workouts. So there's always a reason why. The other thing is, sometimes even when you're in the best shape of your life, things happen, right? Maybe you didn't sleep well, or you didn't get enough caffeine, or the nutrition wasn't there, or you're just burnt out, right? That burnout is a serious issue in triathletes that is not really talked about a lot. And burnout sucks, right? Because when you have, you know, maybe a couple races in a row that you perform so poorly, it might be time to take a rest. Not meaning don't do anything, but really take the time to work in, get your nutrition dialed in, make sure your adrenals aren't fried, make sure you're getting enough protein and sleep, and you're not on the grind of training, and then you show up and have a bad race. So the other thing that happens for the disappointment is, you know, race day is happening and you're supposed to be at the front of the group, and guess what? Everyone's passing you. Ugh, the worst feeling in the world, right? But you have a choice in that moment to stop and just say, poo-poo, pity party, I suck, right? And then walk the whole thing in and then be sad for the next few days. Or you have the choice to say, okay, I'm going to push, I'm going to suffer through this. And it's hard, don't get me wrong, it's hard. But here's the catch. If you train hard, it's easier to do it, it's easier to push through when struggles happen on race day, because you've already done the hard work. You already have the mental skills to push through. And I just found that some people, you know, don't take the training as seriously, like paying attention to the RPMs. Why does that matter? Well, actually, it matters a really big deal when it's windy, because if you're a grinder and then you have wind, which most of North Carolina was windy, you can completely burn yourself out and then not be able to run. So, you know, the coaching, whoever your coach is, I guarantee you has things that they are recommending and you might not be doing, right? So there's always a method to the madness, and there's always a reason for your disappointment, and there's always a choice right now after the fact to look back and pick the wins. What went well? Because if you don't pick the wins, you will leave the triathlon, you will leave the sport, because you're only looking at all your mistakes and all your disappointments. So please, 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 first of all, set yourself up for success, whatever the result is, meaning set realistic expectations. I'm not saying don't have big goals. Like if you want to do a 20-minute 5K and right now you're at 30 minutes, you know, it's going to take probably 2 to 3 years to get there. Let's be honest, right? So it doesn't mean don't have the goal, but you just not need to change the timeline. And if you had a shitty race, just be honest with yourself and also look and say, hey, you know what? Even though I ran the whole time, I got to see all my friends. It was a beautiful day. You know, it wasn't hot like in Miami or whatever the case is, right? There's always some little nuggets that you can take away that are positive. And those are the things that you want to focus on and then take action for the disappointments for the next time. There's always going to be a next time. Triathlon's not going anywhere. And if you need to take time away to work in, right, to do some yoga, do some breath work, especially after a hard race, I just feel like triathletes are constantly, you know, go. And I've learned that in the last 3 years. I can't do it anymore. I physically can't do that. So I need more recovery than I ever have. And I'm actually still performing at a pretty high level when I choose to, right? But I don't really set my expectations really high, so I'm always happy when I just cross the finish line because I'm like, hey, I'd rather be out here than be, you know, sick and injured on the sideline or not doing the sport. So just some words to think about that I was thinking about to share with, just because I'm super proud of my tribe. All my full circle triathletes are amazing. Every single one of them is a complete badass rock star. They all are so strong and so dedicated, but sometimes we get caught in the head trash, right? So just remember the good parts. Measure backwards of how far you've come, right? If you've done 10 half Ironmans, I guarantee you all of them have not been bad, right? Just crossing the finish line is a huge accomplishment compared to the rest of the world. So focus on the good things, and I hope you guys have a great day. Wishing you well. Happy training!